Thank you very much, Eric, and everybody else on the platform. I'll begin by first saluting fallen comrades who have given their blood, their lives, so that we may have a better Kenya. And then I'll go straight to my contribution today, and I think that it is necessary to get an opinion or a declaration from the High Court, since Kibe says we cannot go to the Supreme Court regarding the exercise of the power given in Article 1 and 2. And I am thinking, looking at Article 255 and 256, the Constitution actually envisages two types of referenda. If you look at Article 1 or Article 255 1 and 2, which is about amendments which include the term of the office of president, that particular referendum is distinguished from the referendum envisaged in Article 255.3, which is the one that goes through the county assemblies. So I think, as most of you might already know, I'm not a constitutional litigation lawyer, but I'm throwing this out for us to think about, and specifically to my friend Kibe and others, to think about looking at the distinction between the referendum as stated in Article 255, 1 and 2, and the referendum that goes through the county assemblies in Article 255, Sub-Article 3. The next thing I would like to say is that while I agree with Welie that it is important for Gen Zs to have structures and things like that, I don't think it is priority at the moment, because it is possible to elect sound people into public office as independent candidates, or even as members of existing political parties. What I think is probably more important is to push for certain important amendments to the Constitution before the next election, whether it's 2027 or before, because one of the things Gen Zs have complained about, and I agree with them, is the cost of government, the size of government. If we agree that we are overrepresented, that we have 400 MPs and we have 2,000 plus MCAs, and a lot of them are nominated, and we want to reduce that number, the best way is to reduce that number before the next election, so that that amendment takes effect with effect from the next election. And so I would say that that is probably something that we need to consider, and at the same time entrench Chapter 6, so that the ruling that people can serve in public office unless they've exhausted all appeals when they have criminal and corruption cases needs to be firmly and strongly resisted and removed from the Constitution, so that we don't have people who should be in jail sitting in Parliament and ensuring that they are not facing due process. I think I'd like to end my contribution there, and once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mugambi, and thank you to all who have joined in. Very many comments as well on our comment section. Many people who had requested to speak. I believe in keeping conversations short and sweet. We've done this for about 2.5 hours now, going on to 3. And I propose that we end it here. But like I told the petitioners, as I was saying, let's have this conversation. This is the beginning of a journey. What I hear tonight is people exploring the the options of exercising the supreme powers that we have as citizens through this constitution. 14 petitioners have gone to court. They are supported by 16 advocates who are coming out here to say, how do we actually actualize our constitution? Many other scholars joining in and saying, how about we approach this route and the other one? Many citizens saying, this is a good way, or maybe it may not be the right way to go. It's a beginning of a conversation. I'd like to propose that we continue having these conversations. We'll host another one again with Kenya Bora Tuitakayo in coming days, which we plan to incorporate all this feedback, take in more questions, and this time just open it to the public. What do you think about the call to recall a president through a referendum? Is it a good way? Is it a bad way? And we shall make it a debate. I want to thank you very much for that. So I want to come in now to some of the petitioners and then the advocate, one of the advocates, to come and close. I think I will give the microphone to Cyprian. Cyprian Nyamwamu is a spokesperson for Kenya Bora to Itakayo. You will close, but before you do that, Lempa, as Wakili, you can take us through the next steps and what you expect to see in coming days, in coming weeks, in coming months. Wakili Lempa.
Thank you very much for giving me the second bite. Thank you, everyone who has contributed to this debate. It has been very enlightening. We expect, of course, the judge has given directions. We expect the respondents to put in their responses, and we probably expect a PO on so many of the questions that we have raised. And of course, that is one of the delaying tactics. You realize when a party does not have a clear defense in a matter, they opt for delaying tactics. Thank you very much. We expect a lot of work, a lot of research to go into this, because of course you expect them to bring in very seasoned lawyers, of course, to oppose the petition and face us in court. But as my senior Mr. Kibe says, and as in Kiswahili huwa tunasema tuko na kifua cha kupambana na wao. My senior has explained it very clearly that in times of critical juncture, sometimes you do not require money to be paid. And I can give you an example of about 2 weeks ago when the Kenya Kwanza Gulag arrested about 187 Gen Zs and presented them to court at around 8 p.m. A galaxy or a phalanx of advocates from LSK led by Faith Viembo turned up and were leaving the court at around midnight, which was a service to the republic with no pay. So the question as who is funding the Gen Zs or who is funding the advocates should not arise at this time. It's like probably someone would have asked in 1950s during the British Gulag, who is funding the Mau Mau. It is a case of patriotism. And thank you very much, gentlemen, for turning up for this. We have learned a lot. And I believe my senior, Mr. Kibe, and other advocates in the matter will incorporate all your concerns for us to strengthen the petition. We are still at the early stages of the petition, and if needs be, probably Mr. Kibe will guide us on whether to amend the constitution and put in some of your concerns. But insofar as we are concerned, as Mr. Kibe has said, we have a very strong petition, and we believe that we have presented a very hot potato to the judiciary or to the court. And we do not expect them to take it very slowly along the edges of a bowl. Thank you very much, Mr. Latif. I now defer to Mr. Kibe and Mr. Cyprian Nyamwamu.
Asante sana Lempa. Indeed, it's a hot potato, not just for the courts, but for the entire country. Cyprian Nyamwamu, close this for us. Oh, no, before you do that, Wakili Kibe, come in, Wakili.
Yes, I think I want me to do two things in closing. Number one is to say to my learned friend, Mr. Mugambi, that it is true the Constitution has provided a clear procedure for amendment and to deal with certain